Okay, so to do this, in my opinion, this like I said, this piece of oak here is going to represent the leg. It's a little thicker, and this is going to represent the apron or stretcher, which will join into it. So we're going to join these. So there's a couple ways to do this. One, you need to get your 2 points here for your dominoes, and the easiest way to do that, you could do, like, if you're doing just one, you just find the center. But if you're doing two, you need to find the center of the two. So what I like to do is just lay them out, the two dominoes out, put a little space between, a little space on the edges here, so you don't want to go over. So I just kind of get the middle of this as best you can. Or you could use your little speed ruler here, and this is the center of this domino. Okay, so this is where you're going to do your mortises for your apron and stretchers right here. So that's done. So then you have to also do your legs. So that the best way to do it is to take your speed ruler that you used previously for the top. That's easy. You know it's here. The problem is with the bottom, you have to kind of line them up. You could do the measurements too, but it's just easier to line them up. And remember, these are going to be set at the wider setting. Typically, not always, but typically they're going to be set at the wider setting. So then you just get your square. And this will be your spot here. Oop. Okay, so now you have your two spots on your legs themselves. Now here you're going to factor in your reveal, and that's where it gets a little difficult because you have to either do the math on it or you could use a spacer. But let's do the mortise on your apron first, and I'd like to use like a little dog hole here. Just put that in, or you can use a clamp, either way. And to use your domino, I'd like to use the shop vac here, the Festool CT15A, and I just plug in the power here. If you see this. This same power and vacuum hose works with all of your Festool tools. That just turns clockwise and then just pops on. Okay, so now you can see here, show you a couple things with this Festool. So first thing you need to do is get your measurement of your apron and stretcher. And I like to use a caliper. That's probably the fastest way to get that. Okay, you can see here, it's at 40. So we'll lock that in. So we know half of 40 is going to be 20, which will be the center here. So now you're going to take your domino here, and you're going to loosen this here. Hope you can see this. And this, lower your plate. And then now you can lower your plate to 20 here. Your width plunge setting is set to the bigger plunge. We're going to set that as we turn it on. And another important thing to remember here is this here. So you're using 60 by 40. We're using 60 by 40 dominoes. So now that we're doing that, we need to set your plunge set in the 20, which it is set to that right now. You see, and to set that, you just kind of push this in. You can push this up or down to whatever setting you want, depending on the domino you're using. So we're on 20, which that's where you want to be. So you have your plate here set to 20, and that's locked in. You have your plunge set to the Y, so we got to set that. And this is your power button. So we're going to turn it on. We're going to set this. So there we go. We have our 2 mortises here and our dominoes. We're just going to dry fit everything. We're not going to glue anything up today. Just going to dry fit them in. Just tap them in. These are nice, and I always keep these on the snug level for the apron stretcher. But now on the leg itself, we're gonna widen this, so we have a little more room to play with here. So the problem we're gonna have here, we don't have a lot of real estate, as you can see. So we might have to set one to loose and one to tight on the plunge, the mortise width setting, because it's gonna be really, it might turn out to be like one mortise when it's all said and done. Okay, so now we know we need to set our leg up now. So we know this is 40. So we're gonna add, so there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either add this little spacer, which I like to use, which is the difference, or you can measure with something that's in metrics. Like here, we're gonna add another, let me turn this around. Another, looks like 9 millimeters, top of it. So now we can set this plate again. We're going to bring it up to about 29. Okay, we'll lock that in. And then we'll do that. So the other thing you could do is just put your spacer on top. Okay, so we have, you can see I went over the top here, which is fine for this test. So now we're going to lay this in there. And this actually is a good representation how it's going to look. So that will be your joint. We put her. So this will be your outside. So we'll put the other leg here. So there's your reveal. Your reveal is built in here,